So today I'm going to talk about 7 must-do hikes if you live in Arizona and you love the outdoors and hiking. I've done all these hikes multiple times. All this footage is mine. So I'm going to go through based on that experience, tell you the basics about the hikes, why they should be on the list, and then give you a little bit of advice here and there of my personal experiences. All right, that's enough of that. Let's get started. First up is the Peralta Trail. It's located in the Superstition Wilderness east of Phoenix near Gold Canyon and Apache Junction. The road to get to the trailhead is dirt, but as long as it hasn't recently rained or isn't currently flooding, any vehicle can get down this road. The hike I'm going to talk about is 4.6 miles, and that's from the Peralta Trailhead up to the Fremont Saddle, which is a common turnaround point for most people doing this hike. And in that you have 1,340 feet of elevation gain and then loss coming out going back to your car. Best time to hike this is going to be late fall to early spring. It is the desert. It gets extremely hot in the summertime, so you want to keep this to a fall, winter, early spring type of hike. So the reason I have this on the list is the Superstitions are just classic Southwest US desert scenery, and the Peralta Trail is a good introduction to that. It's well traveled and it's popular, so you're going to see other people, and if you're just getting out into desert hiking, it's somewhat safer to stay to areas that you have people there. You should go out and be self-sufficient, but if you're just starting out, start where there's other people around. It's just safer. But really, at the end of the day, it's a great hike, a great introduction, a beautiful area, and when you get up to that Fremont Saddle, those views are amazing. Bonus, you can continue on a short distance to Lone Pine. It's not a maintained trail, but it's fairly obvious if you do your homework, and it gives even better views of Weaver's Needle. Probably the best I've seen outside of actually being on top of it. So yeah, first one, Peralta Trail. If you haven't done it, you need to. So the next on the list is the West Baldy Trail in the White Mountains up near Pinetop Lakeside. The road to get there is paved, the parking lot's paved, any car can make it. The mileage, if you go all the way up to Baldy, is about 14 miles out and back. There is a loop trail, you can come down the other side, but I think that gets around, I want to say 20 miles or something, but it's a long hike. The elevation gain to the top is about 2,000 feet. The best time of year is late spring to early fall. So the reason this is on the list, it should be obvious just looking at the footage. It is not what you expect when you think of Arizona. There are just these beautiful meadows. You can camp, see people fly fishing all the time. There are ponds and lakes that you can go out. There's even a waterfall up there. If you live in Arizona, you're going to get sick of the desert after a while, and this is one of those places that you can go to get that change of scenery. Great to go up there in the summertime when it's too hot here in the Central Valley. And if you go, there's a lot of good hiking, a lot of other activities. I think there's a Sasquatch out here. Hell, there's even skiing up there. But if you go and you like to hike, you got to try the West Baldy Trail. You can loop it together and do an entire loop. Like I said earlier, you can backpack it and camp, or you can day hike it, go all the way up to the top of Baldy. You can't go to the peak. There's not that classic summit view because it is a sacred spot for the White Mountain Apache tribe, and it's once you get to the top, you would have to go onto the reservation to get onto the actual peak. So not a great view up at the top, but it is a good challenge to get up there, and there are some great views along the way. And down at the bottom, if you just want to see the scenery that you're looking at in the video, this is very easy to get to. It's only a mile or so in, so you go as far as you want and then turn around and go back when you're done. So next up is the Flatiron. Back to the Superstition Wilderness with this one. The road to get there is paved, parking lot's paved, any car can get there. The hike itself is 6 miles out and back, but in that 6 miles, you have around 2,600 to 2,800 feet of elevation gain. And the best time to do this is late fall to early spring. Now, this one's on the list for a different reason than the other ones. It does have beautiful views. The views at the top are amazing, but I don't like this hike very much, or at least I don't enjoy it. Let's put it that way. It's brutally hard. I mean, it starts out steep going up, and it just keeps getting steeper and steeper the further you go until you're using your hands and you're almost scrambling on some of these sections. It's a rite of passage, a bragging rights. I don't know what you'd call it.
You just did Flatiron.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun at the top.
People say lots of times, what's the hardest hike around? And you set your goal for hitting up that hardest hike. And for years, Flatiron was on the top of that list for me. It's just very difficult. And like I said, it is beautiful. You do get amazing views, but the challenge is really the draw on this. You just kind of have to do it to say you did it, if that makes sense. Don't want to talk it down. I mean, look at the video. There's this satisfaction in completing something that difficult, but there's also a lot of really good views, especially at the top and then in Siphon Draw itself. So if you haven't done Flatiron, you have to do Flatiron. Next on the list, we have West Fork. It's located in Oak Creek Canyon, just north of Sedona, Arizona. The road there is paved, the parking lot's paved, any car can make it. The hike is around 6 miles out and back for the maintained trail, but you can continue going after the trail stops. Elevation gain is only a couple 100 feet if you go all the way to the end, so it's negligible. And the time of year to go is spring to fall. So West Fork is on this list because just look at it. It's beautiful. It is an oasis in the desert. It doesn't really give you those red rock views that you're expecting from Sedona, but I mean, look at it. I don't know what else to say. I feel like this one, the footage just speaks for itself. And especially if you're a desert dweller, summertime comes around and you're looking at all these hiking areas become too hot to do. West Fork is good, not year round, because in the wintertime it can get snow, the creek can get too high to cross. But during the summer, you can go there and relax, go out as far as you want, turn around and come back. It's a great place to take kids. You can go and see the fall colors in October. It's a classic. And if you live in Arizona, you have to check out West Fork. Next on the list is Humphreys Peak. Located in the San Francisco Mountains outside of Flagstaff, Arizona. The roads to get there, there's multiple areas that you can come in, but I'm going to focus on the one that starts at the ski resort that most people do. Those roads are all paved, parking lot's paved, any car can get there. Mileage is 9.5 miles with 3,300 feet of elevation gain. Best time to hike this is late spring to early fall. Humphreys Peak does have a ski resort on it, so it does get snow in the wintertime. If you're really adventurous, you can try it. I know one guy who has, and he said he'll never do it again. So best time, wait for that snow to melt, May, June, sometime in there, and then hike until it starts getting snow again in the fall, late fall, early winter. The reason Humphreys Peak is on this list, it is the highest peak in Arizona. Now that is good for bragging rights. It's a very challenging hike with that 3,000 plus feet of elevation gain. But it's more than that for me. Again, you're used to this desert type of scenery. Humphreys Peak is the closest we get to alpine type of hiking. It does go up above the tree line, so you feel like you're on one of those 14ers in Colorado or something when you get up there. You begin down at a ski resort, you climb through this beautiful pine forest, and then eventually you get up above the tree line and you're in that barren alpine, just you feel like you're on top of the world. So Humphreys Peak, definitely something you live in Arizona, you have to do. Done it a few times now, and it just, every time I just like it more and more. It just seems like such a change of pace. If you live in Phoenix, you drive 2 hours, go to Flagstaff, get there early in the morning, you can climb that thing, feel like you've been on top of the Colorado Rockies, go back down, drive home, and be home that evening. Can't beat Humphreys. Next one on the list is the Wave. Now the Wave is located in the Paria Canyon Wilderness area near Page, Arizona, just south of the Utah border. The road to get there kind of varies between bumpy dirt road and nightmare fuel. It does snow up there, definitely, obviously rains up there. If that road is wet, you could have a lot of problems getting down it. People get stuck on it all the time. But normal conditions, it's just kind of bumpy. The best time to hike this is fall to spring. It's full sun exposure. It's open desert, so you'd like it to be when it's cooler. But the thing about the wave is, it is very difficult to get a permit for it. It's so popular that they have a lottery and people can play the lottery. I've played the lottery online for years and didn't win. I'm not going to go into the whole lottery thing. I have videos on it and then they keep changing the rules. But if you look up the wave, biggest challenge is getting the permit. Feel like that gets people into trouble because when you finally get that permit, you feel like you have to go. So that puts people in a situation where they get July 15th, say, it's hot. It's 110, 120 degrees sometimes out there in the desert. You get out there and monsoons kick up, the road is wet and muddy, but people are thinking, I've played this lottery for 4 years, I won it, I'm going. Go out in conditions that are not safe. So keep that in mind. If you win, the wave will always be there. Be wary of the conditions and have a plan B in case you can't get to it. There's plenty of other things that you can do in the Page area. There's Lake Powell, there's Antelope Canyon. I don't have Antelope Canyon on my list. There's plenty of other things to do in that area around Page. So have a plan B, do your homework on the permit. That's the hardest part. But if you win the permit and you're lucky enough to go, this is why you want to go. Now, a lot of people go to this area here, they get the picture, they hang out for a bit, they turn around and they leave. I had no interest in the wave for years because I thought it was just this photo op where you go to this spot, you take a picture with 50 other people and you leave. There are so many other things to see in that area. So if you win that permit, make sure that you do your homework and look at the other sites that you can see while you're there, because you can make a full day out of this, see some of the most mind-blowing scenery and the most concentrated amount of it, that it's one of my favorite spots. So the wave, it's a lot of frustration with the permit system, but it is worth it. Make sure that one's on your list. Last but not least, it's Arizona. I gotta mention the Grand Canyon. Now, I'm only a few years into exploring the Grand Canyon. There are so many hikes down there. You could spend a lifetime exploring and not get to all the areas. So it was a little difficult, but I wanted to narrow it down to if I had a person coming in from out of town and they said, I can only hike for 1 day in the Grand Canyon, what would you recommend? That recommendation would be the South Kaibab Trail. It's a paved road, but most of the time you got to take a shuttle to get to the trailhead. Mileage, if you go all the way down to the river and back, is 15 miles with a grueling 4,800 feet of elevation gain coming out. And the best time to do this is fall to spring. So there's a couple of reasons why I picked South Kaibab. The first is the North Rim closes for part of the year around mid-October to mid-May. They get a lot of snow, it's higher elevation, so accessibility, the South Rim is open year-round. Another reason is the Grand Canyon is humongous. If you go to the rim and you look at it, I couldn't wrap my head around how big it was. And the thought of going all the way to the bottom of it and coming back out was daunting. So you kind of got to dip your toe in there lightly to start. And the safest way to do that is the most maintained and popular trails. That really brings it down to Bright Angel and South Kaibab. Bright Angel is down in the bottom of a valley. So you're looking and you see the sides of the valley on either side, but you're missing the Grand Canyon beyond that. So your view is kind of limited the whole way down on that trail. Now, South Kaibab, it's on a ridgeline for most of it. So you have these huge 270-degree views of the Grand Canyon. And I just find that to be a lot more scenic. Now, it doesn't have the rest houses, the emergency phones, and water, so it doesn't have the services that a Bright Angel does. You need to take that into account. But if you have a personal locator device or some other way to communicate, if you get in trouble and you know how to manage your water in these circumstances, you cannot beat South Kaibab for the views. You also want to keep in mind, if you don't want to commit to that 4,800 feet, I mean, it's a big joke. There's signs everywhere that say going down is voluntary, coming out is mandatory. So, you know, if you don't want to commit to that 4,800 feet of elevation gain, just go down as far as you feel comfortable. Ooh-ah Point is a great turnaround point. Skeleton Point, if you want to continue on past that, go down as far as you want, turn around and go back. Lets you experience the Grand Canyon, better views, and it's a great introduction. Love South Kaibab. So that's my list, but I have a few bonus hikes for you. And I'm gonna start with the one that I'm sure plenty of people are watching this right now going, well, why didn't you mention Antelope Canyon? Antelope Canyon, if you don't know, is probably the most famous slot canyon in the world. It's located by Page, Arizona. It is on the Navajo Nation. There's upper, there's middle, and there's lower. Lower you can kayak from Lake Powell, go up into the slot canyon and go up to where finally, I don't know how many miles you can go up. Eventually you come to a dry fall, you can't climb up, you have to turn around and go back. No permits or anything to do that portion, but it just doesn't it doesn't slot up and like you're expecting. So it's an adventure, it's fun, but it's not the slot canyon experience that you're thinking of. I haven't done middle, but I've done upper. Middle and upper both are slotted up, beautiful, but you have to go through a tour company on the Navajo Nation. And I don't consider it hiking. It's just so, you're in your little group, there's a group in front of you, there's a group behind you, groups in front and behind those groups, and you just kind of go from spot to spot waiting for the next group to go along. So it's beautiful. I don't want to badmouth it. I just want you to know and have the expectation of what the experience is really like if you decide to go to Antelope Canyon. So the next one is Browns Peak. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that say that is not a must-do hike in Arizona, and I can't argue with that. It's not super popular, but it's one of my personal favorites. If you live in Phoenix and you're starting to want to be more adventurous, Browns Peak is a big adventure, or at least it seems like one. Backtrack a little bit here. One thing I learned early on in my hiking experience was to learn how to read beta. And one of the main things about that is you need to take the experience of the person who's giving you the beta and measure it against your own experience. So I learned that the hard way because early on I read this beta about climbing Weaver's Needle, and the guy writing it made it sound like it was a hike. It was not a hike to me. I almost got myself in a lot of trouble.
So we've come from all the way down there. We have to go all the way up there. And then up there. Seriously?
It was just way beyond my ability at that time. Come to find out, the guy who wrote the beta was a local legend, rock climber, canyoneer. You know, he had all the experience in the world. So to him, it was no big deal. But to me, I didn't have the experience to do it yet. So with that disclaimer, I'm very comfortable with scrambling. I have canyoneering experience, I have rock climbing experience, and I've got a lot of hiking in the backcountry. So when I say that this is a fun hike and a thrilling experience, if you're just starting out, you might want to steer clear until you get more scrambling experience. But anyway, disclaimer over. Browns Peak. So the road to get there is long, it's a dirt road. You're going to want a four-wheel drive vehicle. It kind of adds to the adventure. But you get up to the parking area, camping area up on Four Peaks, and then there's a trail to the first of those four peaks It's called Browns Peak. Now at first it's got great views, but there's nothing technical or scary about it. But eventually you get to the chute. And the chute is scrambling, and I just think it's fun. It's almost rock climbing, but it's not quite rock climbing. You don't need technical gear, but you could easily argue that you should have a helmet. But it just feels like you're climbing, and I did it before I had any rock climbing experience. And the views from the top are amazing. But keep in mind, that chute is very intimidating. And even the scramble to the peak beyond the chute is pretty intimidating. If you want to try it, my tip to you would be, first off, don't do it in the wintertime, because I forgot to mention it gets covered with snow and ice, at which point it would be deadly to try and climb. And secondly, it's easier to climb up stuff than it is to come down. So if you go and you start and you're climbing up, make sure that you are regularly looking down and saying, can I still get down that? Because people will climb up so far, they cliff themselves out, they get stuck and they can't climb down. So watch for that. And if you get to a point where you just don't feel comfortable, turn around and try it another day. Get more experience in a safer environment. That mountain's gonna be there, it's fine. You can climb it later. Okay, last bonus one is Havasupai. Now, the reason why this isn't in the list proper and it's a bonus is because it's not, day hiking is not allowed. This is an overnight hike only. So you're looking at what it looks like. It is a series of 5 waterfalls down by the Grand Canyon. It's also the confluence that you can go to by the Colorado River. It is just an experience that if you live in Arizona, you want to have on your list and you want to make happen. There's a lot to it. I have videos on each of these hikes that I'll put links in the description, but Havasupai in particular, I made an hour-long, I think it is, guide. It's the longest and most detailed guide that I have on my channel because there's a lot to it. But it looks like this. So if that looks interesting, which if you love the outdoors, it should, go check out my other video in the description on Havasupai. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. These are some of the must-do hikes. If you haven't done them yet, put them on your list, get them done. You will not regret it. You might regret Flatiron. I regret Flatiron.